So you've got some extra money sitting there each month. Not much, but enough that you're starting to wonder where it should actually go. Pay down the mortgage faster, or throw it into the market. And here's the thing. Nobody really breaks down the actual math on this in a way that makes the honest answer depends on one number more than anything else: your mortgage interest rate. But it also depends on how much time you have, what the market might do, and something harder to measure: how much peace of mind is worth. If you've been thinking about this at all, make sure to stick around, because we're going to walk through the exact framework to figure out which path makes more sense for your specific situation. Here's where most people get stuck. When you make that first mortgage payment, something weird happens. You think you're paying down what you owe. But on a typical 30-year loan, the first payment is almost entirely interest. On a $400,000 mortgage at 7%, that first payment might be $2,600. $2,300 of that goes to the bank as interest. Only $300 actually reduces what you... This hits different when you see it spelled out. That front-loaded interest structure is why the first half of your mortgage is so expensive in ways people don't fully grasp. In the first 20 years of a 30-year mortgage, you're still paying more in interest than principal on every single month. Every single one. You're halfway through the life of the loan and you've barely touched the principal. Most people miss this because the payment feels the same month after month. The structure stays hidden. Now here's where the investing question actually becomes sharp. If you're earning effectively 0% by paying down that mortgage faster because most of your extra payment goes to interest anyway, but you could be earning 7 or 8% in the stock market, the math starts to look... The S&P 500 has returned about 10% annually since the 1950s after taxes. You're looking at more like 7 to 8%. That gap between your mortgage rate and what you could earn elsewhere is the entire... Let's say you have a mortgage rate of 3%. You have extra money. You could use it to pay down principal faster, which would save you 3% in interest. Or you could invest it, historically earning 7 to 8% after taxes. 7 to 8 is higher than 3. So mathematically, the stock market has been the move. But, and this matters, that assumes you actually stay invested. That assumes you don't panic, sell in a crash. That assumes you don't touch. Here's the part where psychology enters the calculation. When rates were at 2.5% or 3%, the decision was easy. Invest. The gap was too wide not to. But when mortgage rates climbed to 6 or 7%, something shifted. That gap narrowed. And for some people, it disappeared entirely. At those higher rates, your mortgage is eating up much more of the potential gains you might earn elsewhere. The advantage of investing shrinks, and more importantly, the intangible stuff, the feeling of owning your home free and clear, the psychological weight of not having a mortgage starts to actually matter in the decision. It's not irrational to prioritize peace of mind over an extra 0.5% of returns. That's real. So how do you actually accelerate a mortgage payoff, if that feels right for you? The first method is almost invisible but effective: bi-weekly payments instead of monthly. On a $300,000 mortgage, instead of making 12 payments per year, you're making 26 bi-weekly payments. That's 13 monthly payments annually instead of 12. Over the life of the loan, that extra payment each year compounds. On a $400,000 mortgage at 7%, bi-weekly payments could shorten the loan by 6 years. That same loan that would take 30 years takes about 24 years instead, and you save over $130,000 in interest along the way. The math on this is concrete. No market assumptions, no volatility, just the power of one extra payment per year. Another approach is smaller and more flexible. An extra $100 or $200 per month toward principal. Most people can find this in their budget if they look, not through radical cuts, but through finding the leaks, the subscriptions they forgot about, the eating out that happens on autopilot. Here's the comparison that reveals something important. Say you take that extra $150 per month and put it toward your mortgage instead. Over 25 years, you'd save roughly $70,000 in interest. But if you took that same $150 and invested it at 8% annually over those same 25 years, you'd end up with just under $180,000. 150 times 25 years times 12 months times investment gains equals approximately $180,000 versus $70,000 in interest savings. The numbers show why people choose to invest. But notice something else: both paths are better than the default, which is spending that money. The real competition isn't between mortgage payoff and investing. It's between either of those and just spending it. Most people mess up this decision by not actually having extra money. They think they do, but when they look at their accounts, it's not really there. And that's a different problem. You can pay down a mortgage or invest if you're living paycheck to paycheck. This is the part where it gets real. If you're actually asking this question, you've probably already built some security. You have a month or two of expenses and savings. You're not in crisis mode. You have the luxury of choosing where extra dollars go. Not everyone is in that position, and that matters. For those who are, the next question becomes, what's your mortgage rate? Below 3%. Invest almost certainly. The gap is too wide. 3 to 5%. Probably invest, but the math is becoming less one-sided. 5 to 7%. Now you're at an actual crossroads. Both choices make sense. The decision becomes less about numbers and more about temperament. Above 7%. Paying down the mortgage starts to make strong mathematical sense again. The rate is high enough that the guaranteed return from paying it off beats the historical average from the market. But here's what people often miss. This analysis assumes you're choosing one or the other. In reality, most people can do both. Not equally. Maybe not at the same time, but there's a sequencing that often works better. If you have high-interest debt, eliminate that first. Credit cards, personal loans. That's not a debate. Those rates are punishing. If you have no emergency fund, build one first. 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's non-negotiable. If you have access to employer matching on retirement accounts, take the full match. That's literally free money. No investment return in the market will ever beat a guaranteed 50% immediate return. After all that, then you have the real choice, and this is where time horizon enters. If you have 25 years until you want to retire, and you start paying down your mortgage aggressively now, you'll own your home free and clear by then. That's a real asset. No payment, no stress. Paid off, but if you took that same money and invested it, you'd have it in a different form, a brokerage account you could access. That's flexibility too. The longer the time horizon, the more compounding helps the investment side. The shorter it is, the more the psychological benefit of being mortgage-free matters. Most people don't think about it this way. They think it's a pure math problem. But the best financial decision is the one you'll actually stick with. If paying down your mortgage makes you feel stable, and you won't be tempted to pull out of the market, that's not silly. That's self-awareness.